we are live.
Yes, welcome to Force of Light Entertainment. I am Michelle with 2 L's.
And I'm Natalie the Red.
Yes. And you guys are here for our first time watching series that we've done. The last one we did actually was on Mother's Day. So it's fitting that we are now doing another one on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Hope your day's been special. And I hope you're spending the rest of it with us.
Yes.
Either live or on the replay, but yes. But anyways, we are going to be doing our first watch discussion of the movie Willow, which you guys voted for. We did a poll in our YouTube community tab, and we gave you this, Gladiator, which actually Natalie's seen. I've never actually seen Gladiator.
Well, I don't even remember it. It doesn't even
Well,
count.
I think you saw it a long time ago, but I've never actually watched it. I've just seen like a scene. That or Avatar, and you guys voted Willow. So we watched Willow because
I have to say I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, because we like to give the people what they asked for. So
we aim to please.
We do. So definitely check out our, make sure you watch for our community tab, and because sometimes we put polls there. And hello to Joey. Hello to everyone that is in the chat. Some of you were here before we started, but hello to everyone who is here. And there's our buddy Odin. We had a great talk with Odin this last Wednesday, so go back and check that out if you missed it. Good to see everyone in the chat tonight. Well, tonight we are going to do kind of like we did the last one, where we're going to give you our initial thoughts and just kind of brief thoughts of what we thought about this movie. And I said thought like 3 times in that sentence, but yes.
It's all right.
And then we are going to have a special guest. We're going to have he's like the Star Wars theory of Willow, and he is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt Podcast.
That's Star Wars too.
Yes, so we're going to bring him out just in a few minutes and get his thoughts on this movie because I know he loves it. So we'll just go ahead and get started, everyone. So Natalie, what were and hello to Nicole in the chat. Nice to see you, and everyone. If I missed anyone, nice to see you all. But Natalie, what were your initial... Okay, so actually, let's first start with why we've not seen this movie.
I'm excited to get into this.
I am too. So why we've not seen this movie? You guys know the answer at this point. This one definitely falls on our brother's fault of why we've not seen this movie.
It usually does.
Because in this case, he was already like 7 years old or so. No, not 7. He was like 6. But this movie's like PG or PG-13. I think maybe PG. I mean, he should have seen this movie.
I was a baby. I was possibly the baby in the movie.
I wasn't even born at this point. So this truly fell on Michael's shoulders to show us this in the 90s when we could have accepted, would have been able to enjoy it. But he didn't. So that's why we've not seen it. And as I tweeted out, it is also the fault of TBS and TBN, because do you remember like all they played on TBS and TNT back in the 90s was like Dirty Dancing.
They had their
Breakfast
favorites.
Club.
You guys know what we're talking about.
Pretty Woman. It was like all day.
Sometimes
that's just all they played.
Sometimes you got like a 16 Candles thrown in.
Yes.
I love that movie.
But Willow never made the TBS cut for some reason. So, and then I guess by the time we were old enough to go pick things out at the movie rental place, yes, back when those existed, I guess we just never saw Willow. Some were dug in the treasure there.
Truthfully, I did, and no disrespect, I didn't even know it existed. I've never heard of it.
And oh my gosh, David with the $49.99 super chat. Hell to the chat. Hell to the ladies of Force Fight Entertainment. Yay! And I'm on the show. And David, her daughter is working on your special little clip that we're about to have ready for you when you give a super chat. So
thank you very, very much. It means a lot.
Yes, and we have a little special thank you coming your way. So thank you so much, David. We always appreciate you very much. And thank you to Steven, our friend Steven, for the $4.99 super chat. Black Root on me. Did I read that right?
I think so. I'm wondering if it's something in the movie.
Oh, okay. I guarantee you it is.
Because Michelle didn't watch it.
I did watch it. That's not fair.
I'm kidding.
Okay. So now that you guys know why, and thank you so much, Steven. Now that you know why we have not seen it, we did watch it this weekend. And Natalie, what did you think? What were your thoughts?
Okay.
Initial thoughts.
These are my initial gut feelings. I thought it was like such a cute, sweet little fairy tale. To me, it's a fairy tale.
It is, really.
And I thought, where was this movie when I was a kid? Because I would have absolutely loved this. We got some fairies. We got a lot of little people. We got a lot of cool stuff going on.
And then you got even smaller people.
Then we got the small people.
They're almost like the male. They're not fairies, but they're like the size of fairies.
Yeah, they're not near as cute as fairies.
Yeah, they are.
But yes, and then you've got like the princess and the evil queen. I loved it.
Yes, and I would say this is similar to what Natalie said.
Val Kilmer.
Yes, young Val Kilmer. And I would say the words I came up with are, which some of you men are going to be like, really? Those words? But like fun and cute. Like those are the two words I think of when I think of this movie. And out of all the movies we've watched, this is the first time that I felt grieved. I would use that word, that I didn't see it as a child.
Yeah.
Because like Alien, it's great to find it at my age now. I don't feel like I missed anything as a young kid watching that. I might have been scared actually. But for me, like I'm grieved that we missed this somehow.
Like that would have been like
it.
On repeat.
Exactly.
That's like that kind of movie for us.
That's one of these movies that had we found it like in the mid 90s or whenever when we were kids,
we would have been living our best lives, eating some Cheetos.
watching Willow.
Watching Willow.
I mean, it would have been one of those movies that we just would have watched. And thank you, Mr. Butt Crack Media,
thank you
for the
very
149 super sticker. We appreciate it.
Did we get Steven up there?
We did. Remember,
Okay, good.
In fact, I'll just leave this on here because I feel like it's from the movie.
I think he said something later on.
Did he?
Let's see.
Yep. Oh no, he's replying to him. I don't know, Natalie.
Somebody will explain it.
Yeah, we'll let Ro explain it. But that's kind of my initial thoughts as far as this movie. Just, it's a lot of fun and a magical world. And in fact, and I'm sure we'll discuss this more with Ro in just a second. But I had the thought watching this because, of course, this movie is George Lucas. Him and Ron Howard directed it. But I had the thought, like, we need George Lucas back. Like, we really do. And I don't just mean for Star Wars. I mean, movies like this. George Lucas, he brought magic, I feel like, to things.
That's the word. That's the word. It's magic. Yeah.
Yes, like he did. And I feel like sometimes in today that's missing. Like just kind of like this movie's kind of innocent and magical and
like really any age could watch it.
Yes. Yeah. It's truly a family movie. You could take your family and every person in the family could enjoy this movie. But I really did have that thought, like, we need George back. Like, where are the young George Lucases? Like, we need you to rise up. We need you to step up to the plate.
And like, get your creative juices flowing.
Yes, like to come up with something like...
That sounded gross for some reason.
It did sound pretty gross. I just was going to let it go.
No juices.
Yeah, let's not get juices flowing. But in this, yet again, we know Lucas is such an incredible world builder. And even in this short movie, I mean, it's 2 hours, but in this movie, he creates a whole new world and different groups of people or kinds of people. And it's just, again, you see George Lucas at his finest, and not that people would consider this his finest, I guess, but his finest of world building and what he's so good at doing.
And I like the theme, again, kind of like we see in Lord of the Rings, like we see in young Luke Skywalker on the farm, like we see in Rey even, kind of pulling somebody out of obscurity and onto this hero's journey into like kind of finding who they are. Like I love that about it too.
Definitely. You definitely have
everybody calls him that.
Yes, you definitely have a hero's journey in this. So I think that's kind of our initial thoughts. So I was going to talk longer, but he's backstage. So I feel like we're just going to go ahead and bring out our guest
the
tonight.
Man of the hour.
Yes, let's bring out Ro. Ro, how you doing?
How's it going, ladies? Can you
hear me?
Pretty
good. I can hear you.
Everything's good? Awesome. Keep talking. I'm listening back here.
Well, I figured we would just bring you out in our discussion because that's kind of our initial thoughts. But I have a feeling, Ro, that you saw this in theaters.
Don't
let me down, Ro.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Hello, everybody in the chat. I see a lot of wonderful names in there checking it out, but I'm not sure if I remember seeing this in the theater. Maybe I did. But you guys talked a little bit about earlier that you guys were, or you missed it even when you were younger. And it is definitely one of those movies that is, fantasy and, young, up and coming adventure. This is the epitome of George Lucas storytelling, I think, from a perspective of a young person. Obviously, this film, the idea for this movie was even predates Star Wars. It was something that was his idea for a film in 1972, and somebody in the chat said that this was like kind of his original Star Wars theme, which is pretty true, for the most part. But back in 1972, he had this idea. And it's got a lot of, for us that are kind of like students of George Lucas, it gives you kind of a taste of what George Lucas was trying to do in the 70s, which I think he accomplished with Star Wars. And obviously Willow was released and produced after Star Wars. I think, he hit gold on Star Wars first. But George Lucas tries to create these worlds, these situations that give young people hope. And obviously definitely. Star Wars is, 100%, head on with that. So Willow is obviously another one. It wasn't critically acclaimed or successful in that realm. It obviously made money because I think it made 167 million. It only cost 35 million to produce, somewhere in there. So it did make money, and it's got kind of like a little cult following. Again, that's what I was going to ask.
See that. Yeah. That's what it seems, because again, I've gone my whole life and never heard about Willow somehow, and then it was people in our chat when we would be on a first watch.
I kept seeing it.
They kept saying, "Watch Willow," and it was like, "What's Willow?" And like I really didn't know.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and it was after we watched, rewatch for our movies we love, The Princess Bride, and it recommended Willow. And I was like,
those are definitely kind of in the same vein.
Oh, totally. Yeah, very much in the same vein.
Except for I don't think Willow's not trying to be as silly as The Princess Bride is trying to be. Yeah, that would be a difference.
Willow has humor in it, but The Princess Bride is just straight up a comedy.
Yeah.
There's the difference in that. Let me read. All right, Natalie, I'll let you read Steven's $9.99. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you, Steven. Black Root is what Mad Mardigan was feeding the baby. Puts hair on your chest. This movie was a huge deal for me as a kid. My mom actually let me skip school to see it in the theater. Good times.
Hey, that's a good mom.
Those are the best times.
That is. That's a good mom.
That is a good mom.
And hello to Midnight's Edge. Yeah, he loves Willow.
And you don't give Black Root to a baby.
Oh, now I get it. Yeah, remember when Val Kilmer?
Yeah. He's just letting the baby chew.
Right.
Guys, just know that Natalie...
And then he walks away, and then he's like, don't worry, I've got another piece.
Just know that Natalie kept trying to tell her daughter that the redheaded baby is hers. That's what Natalie kept trying to do.
Or it was me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was you. That's what I meant. Yeah.
It's my first gig.
Yeah,
true story.
I just want to say, too, so, of course, the story is simple, a prophecy, and we see, yet again, with George Lucas, he likes prophecies and, like, the chosen one type of the deal, and this baby is prophesied that she will take down this mad woman, who literally, I think the translation for this character is bad mother, I believe, is what I heard someone say. Of course, kind of back to Darth Vader, and... What does Darth Vader mean? I just went blank, Ro.
Dark Father.
Dark Father, yes. But of course, this baby, and then the quest. In fact, the lady that sends off the baby, he goes straight Moses style, just the baby on the thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Obviously, as you know, a lot of people have called me a George Lucas shill, and. It may or may not be true. I plead the fifth. But here's the thing about George Lucas that I love. We know that he was definitely into anthropology. He's got anthropology roots, religion, lessons, hero's journey, the whole thing that everybody talks about. But it's I think it's one of the things that is missing in the sequel trilogy is that magic of George Lucas's injection of some sort of either fable that is based in human history. Like you said, he went all Moses on this, and there's a reason for that. He was pulling from certain stories from humanity to create this fable, and he's done it in Star Wars. He's doing it in Willow, and these are things that are familiar to us on a deep level, which work. And if it ain't broke, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one of the things I really love about Star Wars, obviously, but about Willow too. And you guys talked about how pure this story is, and I think that's a perfect way of describing it. It's fun, it's innocent, it has a lot of life lessons, and I'm saddened that it didn't do better than it did. But we are getting a Disney Plus streaming show, and that'll be very interesting to see.
Is it just do we know, is it just like based in this world? Is that just it? We don't know any details really on that.
It'll be based in 2005's New Jersey East Shore. I don't know. Of course, it's going to be based in that world.
But is it like a prequel, a sequel?
I think it's going to be after, because Warwick Davis is in it. And I think they're gonna follow the story.
They've actually asked Natalie to reprise her role.
Right? Yeah.
Well, now I get to be the princess.
Absolutely.
Let me read. Thank you so much, David, with the $14.99 super chat. Ladies, if you like the movie, check out the sequel book, Shadow Dawn, and the Shadow Star. They take the story down a bit darker road.
Interesting.
So I wonder, David, was that kind of like the people who would begin to write on Star Wars, like it wasn't Lucas's story, it just people took it and ran with it? It's kind of what I'm guessing from that. David, you can let us know in the oh, drunk 3PO. But yeah, let us know about that. But
and I wanted to say quickly before we got too far in or like close to the end, you guys, if you're not, go follow or subscribe to the Scarif
Scuttlebutt Podcast.
The Scarif Scuttlebutt. We can link in the thing.
It's already linked.
Okay, good deal.
It's linked in the description, and our boy Marcos in the side already got it going. So you knew Marcos
is the man. What can I say?
He was going to have it.
Your staff is top notch.
They are top notch. I mean,
only the best at Force of Light Entertainment.
But yeah. This story, it's such a classic, as you said, fable that interjects all those classic things that we like, religion, anthropology, that draws people in. And this story is no different. And for starters, that little baby, can we just say that little baby deserves like an Emmy for its facial expressions.
She's so cute.
She's darling. I mean, he Baby Yoda'd before there was Baby Yoda.
Yeah. I guess they just like, maybe when the baby was just happening, they had a camera around. They're like, "Ooh, let's get that. Let's get that." It's like, and then I don't know.
Keep it running. Yeah, just keep it running, and then Ron Howard would probably direct like, "Well, this little face looks like she's reacting to this, so let's use it." Yes. But yeah, it's exactly what I thought too. She was doing her little thing, and just adorable. You grew up to be such a wonderful little baby.
Exactly. Do we know do we know for sure that wasn't one of Ron Howard's children? Because all 4 of his children have red hair.
Right. No, I should look it up now that I have this.
I just had that thought, actually.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember ever reading anything like that she was a Howard.
Okay.
Yeah.
He just got him a ginger, so he got him a little Natalie. But yeah, so you've got, of course, the quest, and this baby is found by Warwick Davis. Did I say his name right? Gosh.
Warwick, yeah.
Yeah, Warwick Davis. My favorite Ewok.
Yes. Yep.
But we actually get to see him not in a suit, so that was interesting.
And I think he's so cute.
He is.
It's just like in his face. It's just
there's like pureness.
Yeah, like kindness and innocence. I love it.
I do too.
And I think that's one of the reasons George picked him for Wicket. And obviously, I think he was a lot younger in Return of the Jedi back in 1983.
Yes,
they were doing that. So, but he definitely kind of grew into this role. from his early days. I think Warwick Davis really. I'm really excited to see what he has to offer in the new series. I don't know if he's going to be, the main character for the entire series, or if it's kind of like handing off to the torch to somebody new. But,
Jerome, this is what's going to happen. He's going to find another baby, and this time he's going to take it. He's going to chuck it over her shoulder.
Oh, man, I hope not. I really hope not. We have become so cynical in our old age, haven't we? But I get it. I get it.
I didn't know he was going to be. He's reprising his role. That's kind of cool.
I think so. Yeah. So that should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But again, I really hope that I joked around that we're getting cynical in our old age, but I think I'm really hoping that this inspires maybe another generation of young people to kind of be hopeful, be confident. There's a lot of lessons in Willow, and
there are.
Yeah, if you take, one of the biggest lessons which I relate to incredibly, is when the character of what's his name, Billy Barty asked him where which finger, I forgot what was the question. He asked which finger. He wanted to, or what's the answer to life, or something like that. He picked the wrong finger, but he had another finger in mind, and he was unsure of himself. So he was insecure and unsure of himself. So that lesson, obviously is a universal lesson. Just be sure of yourself, be confident, go with your gut, all that stuff that really kind of plays in to, young people trying to find themselves. And I think that's a really important thing. And again, kudos to George Lucas for being able to kind of tap into that life lesson that we all, experience at one point or another, especially at that age.
Yes, because the head wizard of their village, he was like, "You're a good wizard. You lack, or sorcerer, whatever word he uses. You just lack confidence." And that's so true for people.
I feel
often. Yes. Yeah. So of course, then in the story, we make our way to Val. He's off on this quest, and you have to love a good quest movie. There's a prophecy, there's a quest, just that high fantasy type of movie, which is totally is. And then
just the journey,
yes, this is very much a journey movie, which is again called back to life. So, but then too, when they meet, we finally meet Val Kilmer's character, and I still I don't even know how to describe his character. I told Natalie, it's almost like
he's kind of a ruffian, and he's silly, and
he's very silly.
Sure, couldn't get a grasp on him.
He definitely has Han Solo's arc, and he's a scoundrel when you meet him, and by the end of it, he's done the right thing, and he's married to a princess.
And you can tell early on, you're like, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's just a mess when you first meet him. Literally, his teeth were pretty messy.
Yeah,
then they got better.
It's that black root.
It is. Don't try it at home, kids.
Oh, that's probably what it was. Almost like tobacco being stuck in teeth. Yeah, no, I bet that is kind of what it was.
He was giving the baby chew. I now understand. Is that what they call it? That way you put in your or dip, chew is the same thing.
I think it's just different naming.
That's not a road I've been down, so I don't.
Yeah, right.
I've been down a few, but that's still.
Yeah. Well, and so you meet his character, and his character this movie is very quirky. That's a word I would use. The humor, everything about it, it's not mainstream in many ways. It's mainstream in ideas, and it's a fantasy, but there's a quirkiness to this movie. And that's why we said we would have loved it as kids, because we kind of enjoyed, 80s did a lot of quirky stuff.
Yeah,
and we kind of enjoyed that type of thing growing up. But it's definitely, to me, George Lucas. Well, I've never seen Howard the Duck, but
you're not missing anything. And I think he just produced it. Howard the Duck obviously is a Marvel Comics character, and he just produced Howard the Duck. But let's not go there.
Okay. And now I let you read that one. Thank you for the $5 super chat.
Thank you very much. Maybe Mr. Davis pops up in the Mandoverse to play Wicket again. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I think he will Well, actually, some of his crew from Rogue One are going to show up in Andor, so it'd be cool. I mean, it'd be nice to see him again in something.
Yeah, it would be. That would be a lot of fun. So then, of course, in the story, you also get this interesting romance between Val Kilmer and the head woman's daughter, and that whole relationship was humorous, but in a way I enjoyed watching play out.
Right.
She was a childhood crush when I watched that movie. I loved Joanne Whaley.
Do you know, I told Michelle I knew who she was immediately because we all know the movie Gone with the Wind. Well, I guess like in the early 90s or something, they did this like mini series called Scarlet, which was supposed to be like the continuation of Scarlett O'Hara's story. And she played Scarlet. So as a kid, I just thought like, oh gosh, she's so beautiful, so I think I was right there with you basically.
So funny story. I just recently saw her in something. I didn't recognize her at first, but I felt so guilty for she played a nun, and I'm like, why is this nun very attractive? I just felt like weird. I felt bizarre. She was in Daredevil and she was the nun.
She's the mother?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
But I felt like really inappropriate at that point. I'm like, I think I'm into this nun.
Now that you say it, I immediately see her face because I love Daredevil, and I actually recently rewatched all 3 seasons. So that's just, she plays Mary, his mother.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, but their romance is fun. And then can we please talk about, because we know George enjoys, everyone who watches knows I like practical effects, but they went really practical with those dog things.
Right. Yeah.
I think it was just the one scene that
made me laugh.
That it was so obvious. It was like a dog.
Towards the beginning,
when it mauls the woman to death. Yeah.
It looks like a dog with like something on it.
Definitely.
And then they just let it loose. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they need to sell those at like Petco so people can dress their dog up for Halloween.
Exactly. Little cross promotion there.
They definitely should. So you've got that, and then of course they find the head sorcerer woman that can deal with that lady's mother, and that was kind of a humorous storyline where she keeps being a creature, like she's a possum. Then
the old woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Because then he turns her into she goes from a possum to a bird to a goat.
Yeah.
To to a tiger to a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or an ostrich.
Yes, an ostrich.
There was an ostrich in there.
Yeah.
And for anybody that is interested in any behind the scenes stuff, technically, as you know, I love all that behind the scenes stuff. That's one of Industrial Light and Magic's, one of their crowning achievements in that film. It was the first time that they were able to do any morphing technology.
Oh.
So groundbreaking at that time. Now everybody's doing morphing and things like that. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the way they played it was pretty humorous.
Yeah.
And
well, and then even just as a kid, I'm thinking, in my mind when they were like got turned into pigs and they're like halfway, I would have been like, oh my gosh, we're turning into pigs,
It's creepy.
I know.
Well, and in this movie, it's kind of humorous because there's already stuff like obviously this came out in '88, but there's stuff in it that they couldn't do today because like the whole scene where Val Kilmer's character, he had been in with that woman who's married, and her husband comes in, he dresses up as a woman, and that guy just totally does a tush squeeze. Yeah, I mean he got fingers up on the tush.
Michelle, you're getting very descriptive.
He was very feely on Val Kilmer's tush. We'll just word it that way.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, and that whole scene was pretty humorous. Really, Val Kilmer's character in general, I'd have to watch it again, but again, back to what I said, it's quirky. He's like a quirky version of Han Solo in his own way. Like, it's still different than Han.
Well, but he's endearing because somewhere quickly, even though it's like he's kind of like that dad that doesn't know what he's doing yet, like you can tell he genuinely is kind of like, I like this whole thing.
Yeah. There's definitely a sense of like purity to his character, especially when he starts to have feelings for the baby and wants to really take care of him, or take care of her. So, but it's definitely an endearing movie. It's special, especially to young people. So I'm glad you guys got to see it finally.
Yeah, I'm glad we did too. Because it just kind of has that George Lucas, as you said, magic. And again, as I said before we brought you out, that I think we need some young George Lucases, male or female, whoever, to begin to rise up, because
absolutely
he just was such a master. And I understand you saying you're a George Lucas shield, because even some of my issues with the prequels, it has nothing to do with his storytelling. I mean, he was just a master storyteller. He really is, and world builder. And as you said, he puts magic into things. Like this movie, it brings the magic.
It brings out like your childlikeness, even as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where George Lucas, is so great. Where a lot of other, directors kind of, they kind of miss the boat. And not to get too shilly again, but it's just one of his fortes. Spielberg does the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
But how amazing would it be to get those two together to direct something? I think that'd be amazing.
I mean, they could have done Indy 5, but whatever, as far as that. But thank you so much, Padwanable. Am I saying that right? For the $2
Padawannabe.
Padawannabe.
I like
it. I like it too.
Thank you very much.
Let's see, what is it? Let's see. Val Kilmer has the Han Solo, Lando Calrissian charm and swagger. He really does.
Yeah.
He does have both of them, for sure.
He's just got that little bit of whack, just enough that I like.
With a little Jar Jar, because he's kind of funny sometimes. Exactly. You know what I mean?
That's the perfect way to put it. A little bit of Jar Jar. Yeah, just that little quirkiness,
Yeah.
He really does. His character. And the final battle, when they're able, finally, because Willow, his character, you can never call him a Gary Stu, that's for sure, because his character can't get things right all through the movie. And finally he's able to transform the main sorcerer. But then he really gets his time to shine. Well, actually, he gets his time to shine twice, because in the battle before the main battle, he's able to defeat. Those things were creepy, by the way. Those dwarfs. The dwarfs in this world were pretty creepy. Like they would just crawl on walls.
Oh, true.
And before we get into that,
they didn't come to play.
We totally left out the little guys. What are they called in this world?
The brownies.
Yes, like they were.
And
they had
a lot of people say they stole the show, and they definitely were great in that kind of movie. I think the two actors that played them just were phenomenal. Talk about quirky.
They were
kind of like the little comedy routine throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they definitely were, and just their whole setup was pretty humorous. And you guys are right. I mean, dwarfs, trolls. The trolls.
And that's what Willow, I guess he makes a point to say more than once. I hate trolls.
Yeah, and I see why. Yeah. Those trolls look like demons.
Right.
They were pretty brutal. But yeah, the brownies were hysterical throughout the movie.
I just wanted a little more fairy action. Like there's a couple that kind of go in, but like I loved fairies as a kid, and I want more fairies.
Yes, the fairies, and then what I was saying at the end. So Willow does he defeats the trolls a couple times in the battle before the main battle at the end. But then at the end, I literally was sitting there and I was like, come on, like Willow, come on, like do something here. And finally, Willow at the end of the movie is able to step up to the plate, and he fully is able to save the child. So it was a sweet moment.
Well, and it's like, and like Rose said, I think in that moment too, he's finding that newfound confidence. Like, yes, I am going to make the scary move that would have been scary to me a few months ago or whatever.
And Joey quoted, I believe that's the brownies.
Yeah.
I stole the baby from you while you were taking a pee-pee.
Great lines. Yeah.
That was pretty good. But yeah, so this movie, and then of course it ends happily ever after, as all fairy tales do. With
and I think George Lucas has been quoted as saying, "I would love for all my movies that are based in fairy tales to end on a light note, because that's way, like you said, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to give you hope." So I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yes. Thank you, Stephen, for the $4.99 super chat. You are drunk, and when you are drunk, you forget that I'm in charge. So which way do we go? That way. This movie is so quotable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can tell, yes, that if I watched it over and over, it does have a lot of very quotable lines.
And you should watch it a couple more times, because
definitely.
You'll definitely miss some things if you just watch it once. But it's one of those movies that you should at least watch, around the holidays with the family, just kind of chill and just enjoy, because it's such an enjoyable little film. And like I said, I wish it had more success, but the critics kind of panned it. Real fast, a little tidbit of information. So George Lucas and Ron Howard, really more George, was making fun of Siskel and Ebert, which gave the film 2 thumbs down during the time. But the creature at the end that exploded, the two-headed dragon,
yes,
was called, I think it was called a Siskerby or something. But he basically named it with Siskel and Ebert's initials, and
nice
kind
touch.
of a little dig at the Chicago movie reviewers there. So,
well, that's pretty good. I mean, sometimes you gotta fight back in your own little way, I guess.
They were clapping back at the haters.
They were, and
even back then, yeah,
right.
And then the haters clap back with the reviews.
yeah, right.
But yeah, this movie, it ends, of course, with Val Kilmer and Sorsa, or whatever her name is in the movie, with them getting them married and taking care of the beautiful little baby.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, little Willow is now the star of his village. So it ends very happy. And I like
Absolutely.
that.
Me too.
And I like that, as I said, that Val Kilmer's character gets kind of that Han Solo arc where Han Solo, when you meet him, like, pretty quickly on that he's actually a good person. He just has to figure that out himself.
Yeah.
And you kind of get that with his character again, just in a quirkier version with a little dirt in his teeth at times.
Yeah,
but
totally.
But yeah, this movie, it does. It's one of those, again, guys, if you missed it when I first started, I said that I was grieved that I didn't see this movie when I was a kid, because it has magic and fairies and just kind of everything that I would have enjoyed as a young kid growing up. And Ro, you said it, because when you're watching something the first time, you don't always catch things. So what would you say, because George is really good at putting themes in his movie. So what are some other themes? Do you see any other themes besides believing in yourself in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, determination, hope, determination. I think when a lot of Willow's, I guess Willow's friends were on this journey with him, they wanted to quit. They wanted to leave the baby with whoever. There's a Daikini, let's leave it with him. So, Willow was very determined to see this baby, safely, see the mission safely, run through there. But, responsibility, I think there's a lot of life lessons in this film that you definitely have to kind of pick apart and just, see what kind of themes you can relate to. It's kind of deep. There's a lot there. And I urge everyone who has not seen it to kind of check it out next time you're around Disney Plus, if you haven't canceled your Disney Plus already.
Well, you see that we were able to watch it. But yeah, it was a fun movie, and I definitely see what you're saying as far as not giving up, because Willow's character, it is inspiring how he just won't stop. Like, and that's why I said at the end, there's that triumph of him finally getting it right and finally like being able to accomplish what he wanted.
Going back to his home, a hero, when maybe he hadn't been looked at as much before.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it really is. It is a great moment as far as just that is such a life lesson of not giving up. And Willow doesn't give up the whole time. And it really is. It's a special little movie. It really is. Any other tidbits you want to give to us, Ro?
Well, for some of your chat people who do listen to the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, we do a thing called Sentry Mode. So I wanted to do one question to your folks in the chat regarding. I wanted to ask a Sentry Mode question. I wanted to ask, do you guys know what the connection? There's a behind-the-scenes connection with an actor, connection between Willow and Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones. So I wanted to see if anybody knew what that connection was. And it goes deep, kind of like behind the scenes, but for someone like that might kind of catch all that stuff behind the scenes, it might be easy. But if anybody has any idea what the connection is between Willow and Raiders of the Lost Ark, pop it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat, guys, if you know the connection. And they say actually the lesson is mess with fairy dust and land a beautiful wife.
I like it.
That scene was pretty humorous. It could be worse.
Could be worse.
Yeah, that whole scene of him getting the fairy dust and going into her room. It was funny.
10 minutes earlier, he was like, I hate this woman.
Yes, he kept saying, I hate this woman. And then he goes in and I love you.
I love
You're my son.
He plays it so well. He plays it so well. And he goes in there and he starts to leave and he does a double take and he comes back and it's like,
And I love how she just immediately,
she was pretty into it.
She resists for a second, but then it's like she's all about him.
Well, and you kind of see too when she's first sent off, you kind of get the vibe like she's not that bad. Like when she's sent off with her mom,
somebody says, I think like, oh, I have a feeling she'll basically like go the other way, like not.
Oh, I missed that. But it was just kind of the vibe she put off. Like her heart's not really into this. Like she doesn't really want to capture this little cute baby,
right,
and bring it back to her mom to kill it.
No.
She didn't want to do that. And actually, what's interesting, another good lesson. It's kind of like the Anakin lesson.
Don't kill younglings.
That one's always a good one.
It's a biggie.
but also how Anakin becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, like the Padme situation. And it's the same with this baby. This baby does end up destroying that woman, but it's because she obsesses over this baby and won't let the baby go.
Yeah.
And because of that, she dies trying to kill this innocent little baby.
Right. Right.
So you definitely have that sense of, which is true in life. Oftentimes in life, it's like if you tell yourself, again, you're not going to succeed or
it's true.
That person is going to keep me down, then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and it ends up happening. So
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did anyone in the chat figure this out?
They're all bums. They don't know anything.
Chat. I mean, so Ro, what is the answer then?
So General Kale, the villainous, the bad guy, commander of Queen Bavmorda's army, Pat Roach. If you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, the guy that Indiana Jones fights under the airplane, that's the same guy.
Got you.
Okay.
You know, I heard this
Same
actually
actor.
on something I was watching, and I still didn't know that that's what it was. But yeah, okay. I did hear that actually. And I know the thing I heard, which you probably heard us say at the beginning, was that Val Kilmer and what's her name, Joanne, that they got married or really had chemistry, I guess.
Right.
I could
some
see
real fairy dust there.
The fairy dust worked, but it didn't work long enough. Apparently,
they just needed a little more.
They did. Yeah. They need more fairy dust on it.
Absolutely.
Any other tidbits you got, Ro?
No, I just want to say hi to Nicole. She keeps saying hi and I keep not seeing that, but hi, Nicole. See you, next month. But, I just love this movie. I'm glad that you guys watched it. I'm glad that, a lot of your, followers here in the chat know of, Willow, and I'm glad they are giving you crap for not watching it till now.
They hold us accountable. They really do.
They are surprised with us all the time.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
A lot of the movies we haven't seen, though, lean really masculine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reason we didn't see it. It just
sure.
draw us in. But this movie, it truly was, I think, just the timing of it was right before I was born.
It's like Michael clearly hadn't discovered it, so it was just a hidden gem.
Yeah, I really don't think our brother's seen it. Like this, I was actually thinking this would be a good movie for them to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, again, because the whole family can watch it.
Yeah.
It's a family-friendly movie.
Right,
right. Which is also kind of a lost art in today's Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
Of being
a family movie that's actually good.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that all generations can enjoy, that isn't just like, and not to knock Cruella, but like Cruella is based from a child's story, where this was truly, I think, made almost like a Lord of the Rings. It can be for any generation. And that's really cool for him to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And somebody had in the chat, wasn't sure if this was Ron's first movie directing. I'm not sure either. It might be. And I totally forgot that Lucas directed Ron Howard in American Graffiti, which is another movie that I can probably talk for hours. Really great movie. Again, coming of age, young people finding themselves. It's a common theme here. So, American Graffiti.
I need to rewatch that. I watched that when I was probably 13 or 14. I think our dad liked it. And so that was like why it was around. So I watched it and I remember little pictures, but I need to rewatch it as an adult.
Yes, definitely. Well, and I mean, American Graffiti, we vary off, it's fine on different movies, but American Graffiti.
I remember Harrison Ford
makes his first appearance.
And Suzanne Summers is in the car. She's this elusive blonde.
There's so many actors that are so young in that movie. Like you said, Suzanne Summers.
Richard Dreyfuss, right?
Richard Dreyfuss is in there. Yeah. Cindy Williams.
Yes.
From Laverne and Shirley. And Cindy Williams read for the part of Leia back in the day. And Harrison Ford, George asked him to cut his hair. And Harrison said, no way, Jose. I'm not going to cut my hair, because he had long hair at the time. And that's why Falfa, his character in that movie, wears a hat.
Gotcha. Okay. Old Harrison being a little grump even back when he was young.
Yeah. Okay, hair is important. I get it.
But yeah, American Graffiti is so important because without American Graffiti, there is no Star Wars, basically.
Yes, and I think let's see, it was American Graffiti, and the studios hated it because it was wall-to-wall music. And they didn't understand it, and Universal took a chance on it, and it was just a runaway hit. After that, I think it was THX 1138 after American Graffiti, and then nobody liked that, and then
I've not seen that.
Yeah. And then, American Zoetrope, who was the studio that George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola were running together during that time.
Yes, okay.
Was losing money from THX 1138, and they were trying to find another project. George Lucas. Oh, and this was after Apocalypse Now, and they were losing money, and George came across this screenplay from a book authored by Mario Puzo?
I'm not sure.
And Francis said, I don't want to do an Italian mobster movie. And George's like, we need money. You got to do it. Something called The Godfather. Here, go do it. So
I wonder, why did George not work on that with him?
On which one?
The Godfather.
Oh, because it was already a book.
Gotcha.
And I think George at the time, I think he was doing a little bit of American. I think he was still developing Star Wars, because he always had that in the back of his head. And between the two directors, they obviously went to film school together, did their own thing, and so they each had their individual projects. And Harrison Ford is also in an uncredited role in Apocalypse Now. He's a soldier, comes in, hands somebody, and then leaves.
I've never seen that either.
Yeah. Again, talk about male like dominated movies. I mean, American Graffiti is an army movie for Vietnam. Really, deep themes there, but it's yeah. I mean, if you like war movies, then Apocalypse Now is probably our Red Fivers do the pillars of science fiction and the pillars of this and the pillars of that. If you're looking for a pillars of armed forces movie, Apocalypse Now is probably up at the top somewhere.
Got you. And now I'll let you read that from good old Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen. George never virtue signaled this. Thank goodness, but it was the largest casting call for Little People ever. Still to this date with close to 240 casts. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's George definitely he kept the little people in business in Hollywood.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, that is cool. And what was I gonna say?
It's hard not to cast little people if you need little people, though.
That's true. What was I gonna say? I actually heard too about this movie. You may know which guy I'm talking about. It was the same guy who was the one guy who backed Lucas at Fox with Star Wars, that backed him at MGM.
Ladd.
Yes.
Alan Ladd, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of even, I feel like George Lucas probably put his own life into the story of Willow to a degree, about kind of, again, that never giving up.
Yeah.
Because his story is very much like, there were a lot of no's for George.
Yeah.
To get to where he was, but he didn't give up, and
that's usually how greatness happens.
He's George Lucas.
Right.
Yeah, but that's kind of it. Any final thoughts that you have as far as that? I about you called you George.
Thank you. I'm sure folks will get a real kick out of that. Knowing how I feel about George Lucas. I'm kind of a George Lucas purist. Because him and Francis Ford Coppola and the early days of Lucasfilm, even through American Zoetrope, inspired me in my career decisions. And I think I owe a lot to George Lucas, as do we all. But I think I take it a little bit more personally because, what I decided to do because of George Lucas is my bread and butter. And I kind of cherish it because it's because of him that I love what I do, and I've never worked a day in my life.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. I think pretty much everyone in this chat is a George Lucas fan. I mean, he's inspired a lot of people with his work. And again, as we kind of close, guys, watching this movie, it just made me think we need George Lucas back. And again, as I said at the beginning, doesn't necessarily have to be Star Wars for me. I just wish he would be at home and begin to create something again.
That'd be cool.
Because he has it in him, I think.
Yeah. I'll give him a call.
You and George. He's just number one, speed dial.
Exactly.
But yeah, we need that George Lucas pump back into our movies. So just that magic, as we said, and those good fables and morals and family friendliness that he brings to things. It's excellent. I love it, and I want it back. I want more George.
Bring back that loving feeling.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyways, Ro, thank you so much for coming on. You and your you now got another co-host, but Brad have been on before, and it was nice to have you back.
I miss Brad too.
I know, I miss even Brad on Twitter.
We miss him for sure.
Yeah,
Brad is out there doing real superhero things, so Godspeed to him.
Yes. And if you guys want to check out Scarif Scuttlebutt Podcast, it's all places podcasts are. And I also linked their YouTube channel. Well, Marcos has it in the chat, but it's also in the description of this video if you're watching later. So definitely go check them out if you love discussing Star Wars, and they usually do a little deeper takes on different things in Star Wars. But you guys also have been covering other things recently too.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. We couldn't just contain our geekness just to Star Wars because we are like 100% geek. So we do a little of everything: Batman, Marvel, DC, other superheroes, other franchises. So we just recently did a Jaws retrospective with one of our patrons, the Frank 402. Not to be confused with any other Frank, but it's the Frank 402, one of our patrons, and our wonderful new co-host on the Scarif Scuttlebutt Podcast, Chantel, who is just a breath of fresh air.
Yes. Yeah, she is.
She seems really good. I watched one of the episodes with her in it. She seems to fit nicely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's important to have a good fit on podcasts.
It's true.
Yeah.
You definitely need that. And thank you, Stephen, for the $4.99 super chat. Like The Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd, the movie also syncs up with the Pink Floyd album, The Wall. Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of trippy, man.
Ro, had you heard that?
I have not. I've heard that with other movies, but not Willow. That's pretty wild, man.
That is. And thank you, Lou, for the $5 super chat. Just remembered it was for us kids as fans that made Star Wars what it became. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, he just knows how to tap into things again that is very children can appreciate, but adults can too. And that's really kind of its own gift. Really.
Like in my heart of hearts, in my happy place, I want to go live in a magical forest with like pretty mushrooms all around.
I thought you already did.
I thought exactly. I thought you already did. Every time we see pictures of you, you're there.
Exactly. and again, I just have to give props. I love the quirkiness, some of the themes again of like not giving up and believing in yourself with this movie. But that dang baby, it was so cute.
Yeah.
And its facial expressions were just on point every single time.
Yeah. She takes direction well.
She does.
Yeah.
He's like one more time, a little more emotions.
She's like,
faster and more intense. Oh no, that's
she's
George.
like, I got this.
She's like, smile, and she's like,
he's like bigger.
Yep.
I mean, that baby, it was a talented baby. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
But thank you, John, for the $5 super chat. Thanks for all you do. Keep making the good material. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone in the chat for spending your Father's Day with us and our guests discussing this movie, Willow. And if you exclusively want, again, if you just came in, we give you our initial thoughts at the beginning of this. If you want to hear what we thought about this movie from after watching it one time. So.
And on this Father's Day, never forget you have a heavenly Father that loves you very, very much.
Yes, that is good too. That is definitely a good remembrance on this Father's Day. But Ro, well, thank you so much again for coming on.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I always love talking movies in general, and love talking to other geeks, part of our little Red 5 family.
Yes, because, and I also have that linked in our description, that if you want to check out, which we're a member, the Salty Nerd, that's got a lot of attention this past week. They're a member of the Red 5 family. The Scarif is a member of the Red 5 family. So I have linked in the description, thered5network.com. If you want to go check out, if you enjoy nerd talk, there's all kinds of different podcasts or YouTube channels that you can find and subscribe to. So check those out.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole is sweet. And we hope Nicole's
Nicole.
We do. We hope Nicole's had an awesome day. And again, thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us. We will be back very soon with another First Watch. I don't know where it's up for debate, but I feel like for our next First Watch, I want to do what's it called? Tremors? Tremors. I've never seen Tremors.
It's Stephen King.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon.
Is it not Stephen King?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, this isn't a scary movie.
I was told it's like kind of more a thriller. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's got like a little bit of comedy in there. But it's there's an episode. What was the first? There's a second episode of Mandalorian on season 2 with the Tusken Raiders. That totally reminded me of Tremors. So think of that.
Okay. So I think that could be our next First Watch, everyone. But
sounds good.
Yeah, I've heard good things. So, but anyways, thank you guys for spending your time with us. We appreciate you guys giving us your thoughts in the chat, and we hope everyone has a wonderful Father's Day. And everyone remember, as always, to be a force of light. All right.